I'm here with Professor Hakim, lecturer at University of Chichester, and we are going to be talking about two of his books, Pan-Africanism and Communism, and the second one, Pan-Africanism, A History, which was launched in this month, September 2018.
The latest one is A History of Pan-Africanism from the 18th century to the founding of the African Union. So it looks at all those who have tried to unite Africans and people of African heritage for their advancement and liberation. So it looks at individuals and organizations in Britain, in the US, in Canada, in France, in the whole of Africa, in Brazil to some extent, and looks at, kind of key figures, people like Marcus Garvey. I think I mentioned people like De Nascimento and others in Brazil and so on. So it's trying to give a general history, and it's designed for students or general reader just to have an up-to-date survey of the whole Pan-African movement, what Pan-Africanism is, because there hasn't been a recent book on the subject. And then the earlier one, Pan-Africanism and Communism, is about the Communist International between 1919 and 1939. And the Communist International also had a kind of Pan-African perspective orientation. It considered that the struggles of people in Africa, the Caribbean, people of African heritage globally were interconnected. And so it organized on that basis. And there were many black communists who were involved in that work. The book mainly focuses on Britain, the US, Europe, and Africa. So it doesn't focus that much on Brazil. I think I mentioned Brazil because there were this kind of approach to things did also exist in places like Brazil, places like Cuba, and other areas of Latin America, but my focus didn't really go into Latin America very, very deeply. So that's really what it looks at, and it looks at that period between the two world wars. The Communist International, took up for solution what at that time they called the Negro question. And I know in Brazil this was also an issue, how the Communist Party organized amongst Afro-Brazilians and so on. So I mentioned that, but I don't go into it in detail. Maybe in another book. Maybe. And if I read and understood Portuguese, it would be easier to look at Brazilian documents. So that's the link between them. One is a history of Pan-Africanism, one is about Pan-Africanism and communism in a very limited period of time between the two world wars. And I also have in the new book, I have a chapter called Pan-Africanism and Communism, which if you like summarizes the big book in one chapter. So there's a connection there. That's it.
Thank you.